Sure that we honor Adam's time. He's been so generous to come here and talk with us today. Uh, we are going to spend the first part of our time just letting Adam sort of present Fractured Atlas, and then after that we'll get to question and answers. So with that, I present to you Adam Natal of Fractured Atlas. Is it Natal or Natali?
Natali.
Natali.
Yeah.
Natali.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Carlton, and Alternate Roots. Can everyone hear me okay? Give me a vocal.
Yes.
Great, okay. If you can't, just yell, speak up, and we'll go from there. I've been involved with Roots for the past 2.5 years or so. I got to know them a lot better than I had originally known them. I used to work at the NEA, so I heard about them a lot and all of the great work that they were doing. And so I got to attend the annual meeting 2 years ago, which was great and so different and than many of our other members that I normally deal with. Where our office is based in New York, but we are a national organization, and so many of the Roots members are not from the big cities, and they're doing very, very different work than most of our other members who might just be doing productions of Hamlet and the Nutcracker and other things like that. Maybe not so much the Nutcracker, but many productions of Hamlet, I'm sure. But your work is so important and vital to the communities that you work with. And unfortunately, in many of the areas you're located, you might not have access to many different service organizations or resources just because you may not be aware of them in your area, or you're not aware of the national organizations that are there to help. And I think it's really important to talk about resources that are available to you, and not only I'll cover not only the ones that are available through Fractured Atlas, but I will also talk about some other ones which you definitely have access to. But I really appreciate the work that you're doing, and I thank you for the hard work you're doing. Some of you work, I don't know if any of you on the call are working with universities or in tandem with universities, but many of those groups might already have ready access to resources. So I always urge you to check out those if you're not familiar with them already. Hopefully you are. But those of you that are not, and those of you that are, doesn't matter whether you're in a city or, out in the boonies or wherever you are, our services and resources can be of great value to you. And just to give you a kind of summation of my own background, I'm a theatrical director by trade. I got my degree in directing for theater and film, and I came out of school and I worked for a while at the National Endowment for the Arts before moving to New York and sort of staying in the same vein of arts service. I started working with Fractured Atlas almost 4 years ago now. It was a small organization back then. We had about 2,000 members. Barely anyone knew who we were. And it was a really interesting organization. It still is, but I didn't know how it was going to work out. And fortunately, we're going to hit about 10,000 members later on this year. And we have an insanely diverse range of work that's coming through our membership. And I'm so glad to be able to offer the services that we do to our members. I think they're really, really important, and especially at a time like this where everyone is suffering from the economic crisis and a lot of people are turning back to their art, whereas before they might have had a full-time job that they were focused on. It's you guys are probably constantly doing your artwork, and we help both everyone from the amateur who's just does a one-off show or something like that to the professional who's doing this full-time and it's their livelihood and otherwise. And so to summarize, I mean, the services that we offer are all business related in one way or another. We're really well known for the insurance services that we offer. We provide access to low-cost health and liability insurance. Basically, the health insurance is available in 31 or 2 states and in D.C. There are quite a few states in the South, so where Alternate Roots' members are mostly located. There's definitely availability in Georgia and in many of the other states around here. And those are individually underwritten plans through Aetna. They're not. I'll be blunt. They're not any. They don't cost less than if you went through Aetna on your own. But the benefit of going through Fractured Atlas, there are multiple benefits actually. The first is that we are a nonprofit service organization. You know, we get what you do. We're all artists of one type or another, and we really pride ourselves on our customer service. So if you had questions about healthcare, or if you were interested in getting one of the plans through us, you would basically have our support and service should you run into problems or have questions. So we have a director of healthcare who's a visual artist, and as a result of working at Fractured Atlas, she now has her insurance broker's license. So she's really well versed and can help from anything with helping to get a claim paid to sort of figuring out what your healthcare plan entails or what you might need or require. So there's that benefit of having the added service when it comes to healthcare, which, you know, sometimes health insurance companies don't really like to work on your side, as we all know and we're all hearing in the news right now. So it's important to have that extra added bit of service on that end. And in addition, you know, we do a lot of advocacy. I was actually speaking about advocacy today at the Foundation Center in Atlanta, and specifically we do advocacy with a number of different programs that we have. So, for example, in terms of healthcare, we're always advocating for better plans at better rates for artists, because artists don't have generally don't have the employer-employee relationship where they have someone paying for their insurance, and they are freelancing and hopping from job to job, from place to place, and need something that's portable. So we've expressed that to insurance companies. We've had we've made some headway in certain areas, but simply by being on our plans as opposed to just going through Aetna on your own, again, there's no cost difference. So by going through us, you're basically advocating on your own behalf and on behalf of the artist community that you work in by saying, you know, we need better plans at better rates, and the more people that get on these plans, the more negotiating power that we have as an arts community. So that's one of our flagship services that we offer, and we really pride ourselves for offering. At the same time, you know, it is a flagship service, but you'd sort of be amazed with how few of our members, in terms of our entire membership, are on our plans. For one reason or another, either, you know, they get a full-time job and get a separate plan, or they have a spouse or significant other that they get a plan through. So people have always seen us as the organization that does healthcare for the arts, and we definitely are. But I want to make a point that it is a flagship service, but we offer many other services as well that you'll find could be really important to you and to the work you do. So sort of pushing that type of insurance aside and going to one other area of insurance that we started offering when I came on, we have a whole series of liability insurance services. So when someone puts a contract in front of you and says, you know, here's this commission you're going to have, or we're going to be hiring you as a teaching artist and paying you this much, but in Part 11C of the application, it says you need to carry some type of liability insurance. This is where we come in and we can help with that. And these plans, as opposed to the healthcare plans, are at a lower cost because they're proprietary programs that are for Fractured Atlas members only. We have everything from event liability insurance, so if you're doing a one-off production for a day or a week or a month, or even a few months. Then we have annual liability insurance, so if you have a company, which many of you guys do, and you want to insure everything the company does, you can get that. We have workers' comp, volunteer accident insurance, so if you have volunteers that you want to insure. We have teaching artist liability insurance, which is the first program of its kind in the country that we know of. It's basically simply annual liability insurance, but because we have specific